Hi, welcome to Daily Conversations. This is Mr. K.
This is Eric.
Yep. And um, the date today is November the 1st, and the time now is 18 minutes past 6. And the topic today is talking about the nominal GDP, real GDP, purchasing power, and wealth polarization. So before we start, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go. Yep. So Eric, today we are going to discuss a few technical terms here: nominal GDP, real GDP, purchasing power, and wealth polarization. So for these two terms here, um,
Mm,
I believe that you put it in one topic. Um, they must be interrelated, right?
mm,
Yep. Yeah, but for now I still um quite confusing.
mm,
Yeah, about how they can relate it. Uh, I think for nominal and real GDP, we have discussed a little bit in previous conversation, right?
mm,
Yep, and the real GDP take into account inflation or deflation, and yep. So yeah, I can understand nominal and real.
mm,
And for purchasing power, um, it means that yeah, it also related to inflation and deflation, right?
mm. Can you say it again?
Yeah, for purchasing power,
Mm.
yeah, I think it related to inflation or deflation because
Yeah, yeah, sure. Mm,
it talk about the same value of the same nominal value of money
yeah,
and how much what things it can buy, right?
yes. Mm.
Mm, yep. And then the last one, wealth polarization. Is it talking about the gap between the poor and the rich?
Mm.
Mm, yep. Yeah, I think
Yes.
for this topic uh you may start your sharing first because I don't know how to start the sharing.
No. Yeah, I want you to start. Try
Oh,
to link them together.
um, okay. Yep. Um, okay, so look at the GDP first.
Mm.
Yep, for GDP, yeah, to know the real improvement, the real increase in the national output, then uh, we should look at the real GDP, right?
Mm. Yeah. Most of the people they look at the real GDP.
Yep. So that we were not affected by inflation because uh, yeah, let's say a country have a very high inflation rate, then the GDP, if everything remain uh, unchanged,
Mm.
just the inflation change, then the country may have a higher GDP if we just look at the nominal GDP, right? So
Yeah.
for real GDP, we can really know whether this country produce a higher amount of
Mm.
output.
Yes.
Yep. And then for um, purchasing power and GDP, um, it's about purchasing power is about inflation.
Mm.
So, um, yep. So the difference between nominal and real GDP is due to the purchasing power.
Mm.
the difference of
Okay,
uh,
purchase
yeah.
we when we talk about purchasing power, we
Mm.
normally mm, apply it on individual level.
Oh,
Okay. Mm.
correct. Mm.
And nominal GDP, real GDP,
Mm.
we normally refer to a country, right?
Oh, yep, yep,
Mm.
yep.
Mm. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mm. Yep. So yeah, it seems like I can't really link purchasing power to GDP. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So if purchasing power is related to yeah, we'll use this term on uh this discussion of individual. So um yeah, maybe we may talk about purchasing power of the rich and the
Mm.
poor.
Mm.
Yeah, and um um okay, I think if there is inflation and the inflation is quite high, um the the rich isn't affected as much as the poor. So um the purchasing power of the poor may be affected, but the rich um um yeah can remain the same.
Mm. Why?
Um Yep, because for the poor they don't have so much money, and uh the salary didn't increase salaries uh, normally doesn't increase so much so fast.
Mm.
So uh if all of the goods in the market increase, so
Mm.
this will create a burden to them, and the things that they can buy uh become lesser. So
Mm.
I think they will have a lower purchasing power if
Mm.
inflation is increasing. I mean the rate. But
Mm.
for the rich, um, yeah, they don't have this problem, and uh, they still can buy uh, those needs necessity.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so they will still buy, and yeah, because most of the rich they actually uh doesn't they don't work for people.
Mm.
They are some of them are the employer level. They are
Mm.
employer. So for employer and um inflation, inflation could hurt them, but they can transfer
Mm.
uh the cost increase to the
Mm.
consumer to and also to the poor.
Mm.
Yep. So I think they will they will remain their purchasing power.
Mm. Mm.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, for this
Okay.
part, is it correct?
Uh, we do the calculation. Uh, hello.
Ah, yeah.
Sorry, my ear got something cool. Okay, now
Mm,
here already. If we do a calculation, if we talk about inflation,
mm,
and it will reduce the purchasing power, and inflation is something like percentage, right?
yep, yep.
Mm. Mm. And okay, if one poor guy, he has he has only 1,000 on hand, and
Mm,
another rich he had 1 million on hand,
Okay.
and both of these guys, their purchasing power reduced 2%. That means mm, inflation goes up 2%.
Mm.
Okay,
Yep.
then who is the who is the loser? I mean, uh, who is the
Bigger
bigger,
loser.
bigger loser?
Yeah, actually, if we look at the amount, is the rich, right?
Hmm?
The rich will lose more, because
Mm-hmm.
the 2% will, um, we take 1 million multiplied by 2% and 1,000 multiplied by 2%.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the rich will lose more.
Hmm. So, mm, so the inflation, uh, the, the inflation, mm, the rich, the rich, the rich people, they they don't care about inflation. I mean, mm, it is, it don't have any negative impact to them.
I think it has, but the many of the rich, they know how to um, convert their wealth on specific things like the shares, the gold, or other country currency.
Hmm.
So
And
that
okay,
they can
and
avoid this.
yeah, why they can avoid this? Convert
Yep.
to why they just buy the share and buy the
Mm.
gold, then they can they can avoid the inflation. They can avoid the negative impact of inflation. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, because for inflation, basically we talk about um the a specific currency, let's say Malaysian ringgit. So if Malaysians uh experience a high inflation, then maybe the rich in Malaysia, they can convert their money from Malaysian ringgit to Sing dollars or US dollars, and then yeah, when it keep the inflation keep increasing the next year, then yeah, if the rich has his majority of wealth is in another currency, then he would not be affected so much.
Mm. Why?
Mm.
Why high inflation will definitely cause the currency devaluation?
Um, mm, Wait a minute. Okay, inflation is because the price increase, money supply increase, currency. Um, yeah, I'm kind of stuck here.
Mm. Okay. Look at the U.S.
Mm.
Do you know how much money supply did increase in these 10 months? Mm. I mean, in year 2020, com- how much how much how much did the money supply increase with mm,
The
compare with the
previous
total
year?
supply? Mm, Compared to the total money supply as of as of December 31st, 2019. So we just look at this 10 months time, how much money supply they increase.
Oh,
Do you know? Mm,
I have no ideas.
yeah. 3 weeks ago, there is a statistic.
Mm.
The money supply mm, did increase 22%, but we
Oh,
don't know now. Maybe now is 23 or 25 or even 30%, but we don't know.
mm.
But we just take the official we just take the official figure,
Mm.
22%. Yeah,
Yep.
for this 10 month only.
Yeah.
So the US dollar or the US dollar depreciate?
Mm, no.
Yeah, not really, right?
Not in a big
Mm,
changes.
yeah, and mm, we can't notice the changes, right?
Mm. Yep.
Mm, okay. Uh, okay. Give you a number.
Mm.
Mm, okay. The US to Malaysia. Okay, US to Malaysia ringgit
Yep.
in the first day of 2020.
Mm.
This is something like 4.80. Okay, 4.80.
Okay.
And now is something like 4.50. Mm,
Mm.
So it doesn't change much. Mm,
Yep.
yeah. And uh and in the pandemic period, mm, the US to Malaysia uh yeah, US to Malaysia currency, I mean the foreign rate, mm, in during the pandemic, this is about the March, mm, the
Mm.
end of March, mm, from 4.18 increased to something like is about 4.44. Mm.
Oh.
So that means previously uh the US the US currency holder can only use um, $1 convert to 4.18 Malaysian ringgit.
Mm.
Now and at the end of March they can use $1 convert to 4.44
Mm.
Malaysian ringgit.
Yep.
So purchasing power actually increased, right?
Mm. Yes.
Mm, mm. And another statistic is at the end of January, the currency changed from 4.18
Mm.
to 4. It's about 4.05. Mm.
Mm.
So our purchasing power increased
Yep.
at the of at the end of the January. Mm, mm. But mm, but this but we look at this date, the pandemic still haven't spread, right?
Mm.
Mm. And at the end of March, yeah, and this is every country looking solution to deal with the pandemic. Mm.
Yep.
Mm. And yeah, and US dollar start to print money since from like the May, mm.
Mm.
and the currency did fall. Mm. Yeah, they keep falling until the rate as of today is something like 4.15.
Mm.
Mm. But we look at this 10 years time, the money supply of US dollar did increase 22%.
Yep.
Mm.
It's a lot.
Mm. And if you look at this, okay, we're not sure the money supply of Malaysian ringgit has increased or not. Mm.
Mm.
But I believe our money supply didn't increase so much.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
because yeah, because uh the US central bank they cut the interest rate from 2 to 0. Mm. And in
Mm.
that and in addition, they print a lot of money and the balance sheet of the central bank expand by 75%. Yeah.
Mm.
So compare this to our Malaysia. Yeah, I think our Malaysia didn't do so extreme. Yeah,
Mm.
didn't
Yep.
react so extreme. So you can't find a link. You can't find a direct link with the inflation, with the money supply to
Mm.
the currency. Mm. And you can't even find the money supply. You can't find the direct relationship
Mm.
between money supply and the inflation. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
because in US the money supply did increase 22%, but there is no inflation increase. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, and do you remember what I tell you before? Why inflation don't have a, why money supply and inflation don't have a direct um, cause and uh, um, cause and that means uh, the the factor and cause effect. Yeah, they don't have a direct factor and cause effect.
Um. Money supply and inflation, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, just for the US, we discussed that many of the country use US dollar as the currency to do a lot of things like tradings. So um mm, yep. So yeah, because there is a big demand, so the inflation didn't take place.
Okay. If there is one, yeah, if there is one currency, the supply increase so much, why you want to hold it?
Um, yeah, because we still need to to do business with that country.
Mm, I share you one strategy before, right? We can keep most of our wealth in other currencies and just
Mm,
keep 1 to 5% for business
yep,
operation.
yep.
So it's not the case.
Mm, yep.
Mm, yeah, why money supplies increase, the inflation won't increase. And look at the Japan. The Japan prints so much money during
Mm.
these 10 or 20 years. Hmm. Why the Japan still suffer in deflation? They want inflation. Yeah, Japan actually want inflation, but they keep printing the money and there's no inflation. The money printed can only against with the force of deflation. Hmm.
Oh.
But they can't turn deflation to inflation. They can't do that. Hmm.
Mm.
And give you information,
Okay.
Japan is the first country
Mm.
implement the QE. It's not US. US is Japan. Yeah, can play this too so well. US also want to
Mm.
try.
Oh.
Mm. And once US try, yeah, once US try, they can't go back.
Oh.
Because
Mm.
this tool is so nice. It's so good. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Back to the topic. Mm.
Yep.
Why 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 money supplies increase? Mm. Didn't increase inflation.
Mm. Yeah, because yeah, I can't really answer this question. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Um. Okay. Look at the simplified example about the apple.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. If apple remain if the quantity of apple remain unchanged, still
Mm.
1,000,
Yep.
and the money supply increase from 1,000 to 3,000,
Mm.
will it cause inflation?
Theoretically, it will.
Mm. Yeah, actually it will. Yeah, it will.
Mm.
Mm. Because the apple the apple is limited, it's only 1,000, but the
Mm.
money supply is increased. Mm.
Yep.
Ah. And if you hold the apple, would you sell for $1? Uh, if the money supply is increased from 1,000 to 3,000,
No.
yeah,
Yep.
and you should sell your apple with
At a
three
higher price.
at higher, yeah, at least three, right? Mm.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe and it could be higher because you may expect the money supply still increase and the and the and the apple supply would increase. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. So if you foresee that, mm, maybe you sell the apple for at 4 or at 5, mm, because
Mm.
you worry you sell the apple you can't buy back.
Yep.
Mm. But what if the money supply increase from 1,000 to 3,000, but the apple increase from 1,000 to 10,000? What's the price of the apple?
Oh. Yep. It will drop.
Yeah. Mm. So the apple is an asset
No.
in reality. Yeah, and we can keep reproduce, right? Mm.
Mm.
We can mm, we can increase the production very easily.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the reason that is the reason why inflation didn't take place, because inflation only calculate. Yeah. Look at the calculation of inflation. Inflation only calculate those goods and products. Goods and services. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
Person, yeah, goods and services needed by a person for living.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah, and for example, you want to buy a diamond for your girlfriend. Yeah,
Yep.
it's not a need. Yeah, it's not a need. Mm. And the diamond price can increase so much, and the gold price can increase so much. Right?
Mm.
So if you want to buy a gold for your parents, yeah, because we know the elder people like gold. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
So you want to buy some gold to give them, but
Mm.
you can't because the gold price increased so much.
Mm. Yep.
Mm. Yeah, and it is not calculated in uh uh yeah it is not calculated mm, in inflation. Yeah, inflation didn't include this into the calculation.
Mm.
Yeah, the CPI index just serve your living, just
Mm.
serve
Yep.
your cost. Mm. You can't eat the gold, so CPI, yeah, don't calculate this. Mm.
Mm. Yeah. It's not a need, right?
Yeah, it's not need.
Mm.
Okay, and yeah, and I took and I share you some example. Yeah, take any take any good, take any product, take any service on the market. Mm.
Mm.
Take any product in the supermarket, in the mini market.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah, look at the Maggi, look at the instant noodle, look at the laundry detergent,
Mm.
look at whatever good. Mm. The supply, the supply, uh, the the good supply is exists our demand.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, we can't buy so much. So actually, most of the goods eventually they'll get expired. The fresh food will get rotten, will get
Mm.
expired and cannot eat already.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So we look at the goods market. We look at the product market. We look at the consumer product market.
Mm.
How can the firm increase the price? They can't because the competition is so big. The
Yep.
competition is so high.
Yep.
But look at the mask. Look at the hand sanitizer in few months ago. The price rise by 10 times or 20 times
Mm.
because the supplies cannot cannot meet the demand. The supply is much lower than the demand.
Yep.
Mm, yeah, so the price increase.
Mm.
Mm, yeah, it's so simple. Mm. Okay, one side is the demand
Mm.
of the goods. One side is the
Yep.
supply of the goods. Mm. And another side is mm, about the money. We have too much money, but we have uh, even greater consumer goods supply. So there's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason
Mm.
on the macro level there is no inflation.
Mm.
You get what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. So mm, purchasing power is about the individual level. Nominal GDP and real GDP is about the macro level. And we actually
Mm.
mm, okay. Mm, no, if we use uh, okay, do you know how real GDP been calculated?
Yep. It's using the nominal GDP divided by 1 plus inflation.
Yeah, mm, yeah. And actually, we can't calculate inflation by using nominal GDP and real GDP. Yeah,
Oh.
because uh, mm, we always have nominal GDP. Well, yeah, we always have this figure, and we can have the inflation figure. We
Yep.
don't have the real GDP figure. Mm.
Mm.
We can only calculate the real GDP by using nominal GDP and the inflation GDP. Sorry, and the inflation, yeah, and the inflation rate. Mm.
Mm.
So we kind of doing the backward calculation. Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, try to divide the nominal GDP. Yeah, try to use the nominal GDP divided by the inflation rate and get the real GDP.
Yep.
Yeah, but we can see the GDP, the inflation, the CPI index can be manipulated by those organizations. Mm, yeah. So inflation rate may not be the true may not be
Mm.
the true figure,
Yep.
may not be the true increasement compared to reality. Mm.
Mm.
And actually, there's another index. This is the Big Mac index. You know the
Oh.
McDonald. McDonald has a burger, right? Mm,
Okay.
mm. And mm, what is Big Mac? Uh, what is Big Mac index? Is actually mm, yeah, McDonald has many stores
Mm.
around the world. Mm,
Yep.
yeah. So we can find okay, we can check the price of Big Mac, of
Mm.
the burger,
Yep.
and and we try to use this index. Yeah, we try to take the price compared to last year.
Mm.
Mm. And you can and you can apply in the same country. You also can apply to all countries. Yeah, but now, but in this case, we just focus one country.
Okay.
And for example, the burger last year it cost you like let's say it cost you about okay, a 10 ringgit, let's say a 10 ringgit.
Mm.
Mm. And I mean uh, end of end of last year, and
Okay.
end of this year, the burger is like 11 11 ringgit.
Mm.
Yeah. So the
Increase
inflation,
10%.
yeah. Mm, so the inflation rate mm, by using Big Mac is about 10% per year. Mm,
Mm.
mm. So some economics they use the Big Mac index to calculate the inflation.
Mm.
Yeah. So it according to the Big Mac index, mm, the inflation for these 5 years mm, is like mm, it's like 45% for these 5 years. Yeah.
Oh,
So it is like 6 to 8.
9% a year?
Uh, I think it's 6 to 5% per year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because we need to calculate the compound interest, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it is something like 6 to 8%.
Mm.
Mm. And this is the statistic from the US.
Yep.
And US inflation rate calculated by the official mm, oh, uh, uh, I mean based on the CPI is
Mm.
2% only. Yeah, it's
Oh.
around 2% only. So there's a big difference. Mm,
Mm. Yes.
mm. Okay, so mm, okay, nominal nominal GDP. Let's say yeah, nominal GDP we divided by the real GDP, we can get the inflation rate.
Okay. Mm.
But the inflation rate didn't reflect our reality. Mm,
Mm.
mm. Because mm, our purchasing power mm, mm, our purchasing power uh, should have the direct should have the direct uh, that direct relationship mm, with the inflation.
Mm. Yep.
But we feel our purchasing power reduced greater than the inflation rate they stated by the official statistics.
Mm.
Mm. We can buy lesser things compared to last year. Mm.
Mm. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
also depends on what you buy, right?
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. It depends on what we buy.
Mm.
Mm.
Yep.
But the overall, most of people they feel stress. Yeah. They actually can feel the inflation. Mm. If you ask people, they actually can feel the inflation. Mm. And
Yep.
but you show them the figure. Yeah, our inflation just increased by 2% only. Mm.
Mm.
And they'll say, yeah, bullshit. Uh, this statistic this statistic is not real. Because they can feel. Mm. They can feel the inflation. Sorry, but they can feel the reduction of their purchasing power is not just so little.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the purchasing power and what's wrong with the inflation?
Yeah, for here, I think you try to bring me uh, to the memory of our last conversations.
Mm,
And uh, is it about the price of the asset, like housing, uh, the house or the land or the shop?
mm, mm,
Yeah, because we need
yeah,
to, yeah, if for the young, if we need to form a family, most of us need to buy a house. Then
mm,
the price of the house increased so much, so that uh, it strongly affects our purchasing power.
mm, yeah. And if you don't buy a house, you also need to rent a house. Mm.
Yep.
And for this few years in Malaysia, the rental fee is increased so much. Mm. Everyone can do that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, everyone can do that. And some people, uh, I miss for the absolute figure. Mm.
Mm.
For some people, their salary didn't increase so much compared
Yep.
with the rental compared with compared with the rental fee. Mm.
Mm.
For example, the rental fee increased from like 700 to 1,000, but
Mm.
their salary didn't increase 300 so much per month. Yeah. So
Yep.
this is the absolute figure, you know. Yeah.
Mm.
This is the absolute figure. This is not based on the percentage. Mm.
Yep.
Mm. And also, if you do a sim if you do the simple calculation, you can get the answer. For example, the housing price increased by 2%,
Yep.
and that house price is something like let's say it's 300K. Okay,
Mm.
yeah, 300K is about the mm, uh this is a single tiered house. Got
Mm.
yeah, got 3 room, got 3 room, mm, got two toilet,
Mm.
and also got one living room.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's no upgrade. Mm.
Mm.
Mm. And yeah, and this kind of second-hand house costs about 300K.
Mm. Yep.
Mm. And if let's say it only increased by 2%, yeah,
Mm.
can you do the calculation with me? This is
306.
uh uh, sorry, 300K, 300K, yeah, 306K, right?
Yep.
Mm. So we use the increment is 6,000, right?
Yeah, 6K.
Mm. Divided by 12 months
Mm.
is 500. Okay.
Yep. 500.
Mm. So okay. Mm, mm. So okay, if we use the 600, sorry, mm, okay, if we use 700,
Mm.
okay, divided by 6,000, because this is 1 year. Sorry, I cannot calculate by this. Mm, okay, you use 600. You use 700. Okay, you use 700.
Mm.
Mm, and mine and times 12 months. Times 12
Okay.
months.
Yep. 4,002.
700 times 12 months is
Oh.
8,000. Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
mm. And we divided by 300K,
Okay.
and we multiply by 306K.
Multiply by 306K.
So this is X five six x by 6, 8, right?
Okay, I lost the figure. Yep. So we follow your calculation because I lost the figure. My answer is
Okay.
10K.
Okay.
10K 80.
Okay. Uh, 700
Mm.
times 12 one is 8,400.
Yep.
8,400 divided by 300k. 300k.
Okay.
Then we times 306k.
Yep. My answer is 10,080.
10,080.
Oh, yep.
Okay. You use 8,004 divided by
8,004
uh 1350.
divided by 1,
3
3,
0 0 0 0 0 1350.
okay. Yep,
And
it's
times
0.028.
and times 306 triple 0.
306 or 360? 3,
306.
oh, 306. Triple zero.
Mm,
Oh, yep. Because just now I used 360,
yeah.
360K.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
So
8568.
okay, it's x by 6x.
Mm.
Okay, if we divide it by 12 months,
Divided by 12, 714.
yeah, 714.
Mm.
So mm, in this case, mm, uh, the the rental fee per month
Mm.
should be it should be 715 714, right? Mm,
Yep.
yeah, but the increasement is not like this. Yeah, it's 700 increased to 750, and 750 increased to 800,
Mm.
and yeah, and we kept with the 50.
Yep. And sometimes even 100.
Yeah, sometimes it's 100. Mm,
Mm.
mm, and okay, and our housing price. Okay, if you use the 15, so if you use the 14,
Mm.
if you use 50 divided by 14, this is something like 3.5, 3.5 times.
Yep.
So we use this 3.5 times times 2%. So the house the inflation of house price is like 7%. Does it make sense? Does it make
Yep.
sense? Does it consistent with the reality? 7% each year
Mm.
for this few years. I think quite true, right?
Yep.
Yeah. For this few years, the housing price really increased a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think this is quite true. So the housing price. Okay. Look at the housing price. Let's say increase 7% per
Mm.
year. So yeah, our rental fee should increase 7% per year.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, but our but most of our wages didn't increase so much for this few
Mm.
years. Mm,
Yep.
mm. And even though mm, our wages can increase, like let's say our wages can increase 10%. Okay, let's say our wages increase 10%.
Mm.
And okay, if we use 7%, and 700 times 1.07,
Okay.
so it is 750.
Yep. 749. Yeah, we make it 750.
So if your salary is something like 2,000,
Mm.
if you times the 10% is like 200.
Yep. 202.2K. Sorry.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
200.
2.2K.
Yeah, yeah. So for this 200, yeah, the increment for this 200 and one fourth, yeah, one fourth of the increment is go to the renter.
Yep.
Mm, yeah. So uh and the remaining the remaining of the increment need to need to uh can be split up for the remaining, yeah, for the remaining goods and service. Okay.
Yep.
Mm, mm, okay. And okay, this is for the rental. Mm.
Right.
So it seems okay. Yeah, it still seems okay.
Mm.
Because our increment. Okay. If your salary can increase 10% per year, yeah, it seems
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Mm, uh,
But it is not easy to have a 10% increase
per
every
year.
year.
Mm,
Yep.
mm. And asset price keep increasing. Mm.
Mm.
But of course, at the end, it won't have the 7% increment. Mm. Okay. Mm. Okay. If we look at another figure, mm,
Okay.
of the housing price,
Yep.
mm, if mm, okay, if they mm, if one 200K house increase by 5%,
Okay.
okay, increase by 5%, so
Two
mm,
hundred, 200 and what? 10K.
sorry, I miss 300K
Oh,
housing, 300K house,
so
uh,
315K.
yeah, and the increment is 15K, right?
Oh, yep, 15K.
Yeah. The increment is 15K. So if you want to buy a house, mm,
Mm.
if you want to buy a house, mm, and your salary need to have 15K per year, so
Mm.
you can so you can keep the pace with the house price, right?
Yep.
Mm. Okay, so how much this 15K you need to get for the monthly investment? We
Yep.
can
So
use
we divided by 12, right? 15K.
mm, yeah. So this is 1,250.
Yep.
Mm. So your monthly salary need to increase, yeah, 1,250. So you can keep pace.
Oh my
You,
God.
you can keep pace. You can keep pace with the house price increasement.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. So it's very hard, even for maybe you can do it for 1 or 2 years. So how about over the 10 years?
Mm. Okay, and
Mm.
let's say you have 10K salary per month.
Okay.
And this is about 12%, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is 12% because we already divided by 12 months. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And look at percentage. Look at the increase. Look at the percentage of increasement.
Mm.
Your salary need to increase 10%,
Yep.
but the housing price just increase 5%. Yeah. So your salary need to increase
12,
12.5%.
12.5. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Mm.
And the housing price just increased like
5%.
the 5%. Yeah, can you see the difference?
Yep.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So the difference is really big. Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, but
Hmm.
in the oh yeah, correct. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And look at our salary. Yeah. Most of us just got 3,000, 4,000 Malaysian ringgit. So how
Mm.
much improvement we need to get? How much the increasement we need to get?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So this will cause our debt increase, right?
Hmm. Sure. Hmm. Yeah. if you buy the house later, your debt will increase. Because you can only increase the leverage to buy the house, or maybe you need to top up your down payment so you can buy the house.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and we just look at the a more horrified figure, a more upset figure. We just use the same figure, the 5% of increasement, and this is 15K, right? Just now the figure is 15K.
Yep.
If we just use a down payment, and we let's say our down payment is 10%, okay? So this is 1,005. 1,005 divided by 12 months, it need about 125. Yeah, and that means if you want to keep pace with the saving of down payment,
yep,
you need to have the increasement of 125 per month. Yeah. So that means every year we need to increase our salary
by 125.
For example, 3,000 increase to 3,125.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is every year. So even though you want to keep pace, you want to keep the pace, you want to follow up the pace of down payment, this is so hard already.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the reason why we have the polarization. Because the rich is not use their income to buy the house. They actually have a lot of asset, and the asset increase. Let's say that the asset increase 5%. So they have the 5% gain.
Yep.
Yeah. So they can borrow more money by using refinancing. So they can buy another house.
Yep, and then rent out.
Yeah. And this is also same. This is also same as the stock. Same as the in the stock market.
Yep.
So for example, if you change the house to the stock, you need to keep pace. You need to keep pace the purchasing power of the stock. And you only realize the stock price is keep increasing.
Yep.
And the stock you can buy is lesser and lesser.
Yep.
Yeah. And rich people can use their asset to as a pay. Yeah, as a pay. I mean to use the asset for refinance. To borrow more money. And buy the share. Yeah, buy the stock, buy the house.
Yep.
But poor people cannot do that.
Right.
And also, if you look at the wealth, look at the wealth, look at the asset, look at their net worth. Look at the increasement of net worth.
Yep.
People, even though their net worth just increased like 2% or 3%, but we look at the absolute figure, it's outperformed than the poor people, right?
Yeah.
Even though the poor people can have like 10% or 15% increasement on salary, they still can't beat the absolute figure increasement with the rich people.
Yep, even for the rich, only 1 or 2% is a big figure.
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, uh, just just same as the housing price increasement
Mm.
and the salary increasement.
Yep.
It's the same. It's the same concept. It's the same mathematic application.
Mm.
Hmm. The
Right.
rich people need only 2% to get more rich. Hmm. But
Mm.
poor people need to get like 10% or even 20% to get more rich.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah. Hmm. And because we have the compound interest, hmm, so if at the first year the growth, the improvement is not greater than the rich people, hmm, then yeah, then you can't follow up the pace forever.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is the mathematics. Hmm.
Mm.
This is the law of compounding interest.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah, because because rich people they use their network uh to compounding. You use your salary to compounding, and that's the ceiling.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yep.
Unless you do the investment, hmm, and your growth rate much greater than the rich people. So in one day, properly in one day, but this is properly need a very long time. Yeah, maybe a few um, yeah a few 100 years. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. That is so
mm,
upsetting. Okay. So yeah, I think for in the reality, for
mm,
the poor want to get rich, firstly they want to find a way to increase their salary, their income.
mm,
Mm. And not only for the like the investment, invest in some asset.
mm,
Yeah, it can't compete with the rich if you really want to uh overtake the
mm,
rich. Yeah, it's the
mm,
income
mm, mm. Okay, so go back to the question.
mm.
So go back to the topic.
Topic. Yep.
Yeah, when we talk about nominal GDP and real GDP, the difference is about inflation.
Okay.
And we talk about inflation, we normally think about the purchasing power,
Mm.
mm, but they are not the same thing. Mm. Because inflation is calculated uh, by the by the
Necessity.
by the CPI index,
Oh, yeah.
okay, mm, by the consumer price index, and
Mm.
it is not reflect to our real consumer behavior. We need to buy house, and if we get married, we want our uh, we want the boyfriend. Mm. We want the boyfriend to buy a diamond for us, and diamond price keep increasing. Mm,
Yep.
mm. And one diamond, yeah, and the increasement of one diamond outpace, mm, can outweigh for many few years of food price increase.
Mm.
You get what I mean? Mm,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. So even though mm, the food price didn't increase so much,
Mm.
even though we eat the food every day, even though we need to spend on this goods every day,
Yep.
but actually the increasement of spending is not so large compared to diamond.
Yep. Even a few percent, like 2 or 3% of increasement in diamond.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Mm, now you link back to the mathematics. even though the diamond just increased like 2% per year, and your food price increased like 4 to 5% per year. But if we look at the absolute figure, the absolute increasement of diamond is greater than the whole spending, than the all spending on the food you spend on.
Yep.
Yeah, even though the percentage is not different, even though the food price increase higher than diamond.
Yep.
But is it the case? No, it's not the case. The real case is the diamond inflation rate is greater than the food increasement rate. The food inflation rate. Yeah, because diamond is more limited than food, right?
Yep. Yeah, like you said, some instant noodles, the price isn't really increasing, right, over the years.
Yeah, but the diamond price keep increasing.
Yep, for sure.
And gold price also keep increasing. Actually, we look at the jewelry. Yeah, the jewelry, the price also keep increasing. Not only like diamond, not only like gold. It's also, uh, makes sense. It also makes sense for silver. Yeah, for some platinum.
Yep.
Yeah. So we look at now we try to link the inflation with the purchasing power, and we find inflation is not the best indicator to measure the purchasing power.
Yep.
Because of the mathematics. And there's many things we need to buy at least one in our life. For example, diamond. And for example, the house for some people. And for example, the spending on wedding.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the price also, the consultant price and the photography price also keep increasing, right?
Yep.
Because their salary increase. Their salary increase like 10%, so you have to pay them the 10%, even though your salary didn't increase 10%. Yeah, and we talk about salary increase 10%. You also need to look at their job nature. Maybe your job nature can increase by 5%, but their job nature can increase by 10%.
Yep. And another big spending is on education.
Yes. Yeah. Education increase like 5% or 10%. And we need at least one, or actually we need at least two. Because we need to let our children to go for education.
Yep.
Yeah. So this big spending, we need to spend at least one in our life.
Yep, at least.
Yeah. And this is not calculated. Okay. And this is not included in CPI index.
Yep.
And also the healthcare. For some country, the medical cost is really high.
Yep.
Yeah, and the cost is kind of crazy. The increasing rate is kind of crazy. 5%, 10%.
Yep.
Okay, so actually now we link the purchasing power to the wealth polarization. This is also about the mathematics.
Yep.
Why the rich can get richer and poor always get poorer? Because of the mathematics. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yep.
it has to. Yeah, yeah, it has to because of the mathematics. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah. Because this is a law. Mathematics is a law. You can't violate the mathematics. Mm.
Mm. Yep.
Mm. Okay, so this is my sharing for today.
Yep. Yeah, I really learned a lot from you today.
Mm.
Okay. So,
Uh,
yep.
yeah, actually, mm, mm, I can't explain this. I can't explain to the information of today's conversation directly with you because
Mm.
I need to go through the essential information with you. Yeah, in
Yep.
the previous topic. Mm,
Yep. Yep. Bring me
mm,
back to the memory.
mm. And only if uh, you start to think the relationship, you can understand better.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, this information I told you before, right? Like
Yep.
the
Yep. Yep.
nominal GDP, and real GDP, and also inflation, and also purchasing power,
Mm.
and we also know the real polarization because we talked about asset previously. Mm.
Yep.
So everything I told you before,
Mm.
or we can link together. Yeah, this is the
Yep.
question. Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Okay, so mm, do you have another thing want to add in?
No.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. Mm. So that's all for our today conversation. How do you feel? Did you learn something? Did you enjoy the conversation? Yeah, this conversation is so long. Mm. Please tell us what you think of our conversation, and sometimes we may include one or two critical thinking questions in the comment. This is very hard to answer for most of the people. If you have quote unquote critical answers for this critical question, please share it with us. And we are not native speakers. If you have found any vocabulary mistakes that we made, please also comment to let us know because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.